How has preparing for this year changed as from years past?
Yeah, in every way imaginable. I've always envied spring sports in their ability to come in the fall and go to class and kind of get settled, and then start practicing and kind of come together and work their way toward a season, as opposed to the traditional soccer season, which is really a sprint, right? Just like 13 weeks of drinking from a fire hose. And so as much as, there are going to be challenges to moving things to the spring, I think we're really excited about the opportunities that come with building our group up at a little slower pace and allowing them to adjust to all the changes in their, personal, academic world, social worlds, and then our athletic world.
Have there been positives out of this? Because I suppose you have to keep in touch a little bit more, and the way you keep in touch is a little different than what you normally would once the student athletes get on campus.
Yeah. I think it's been a little tricky in that regard, and that technology is great, and students these days are always connected, and so we have worked to stay connected in the ways that they like to be connected. But part of why they choose Concordia is in person and relationships. And so while I think we've been able to tackle that connection piece and stay, up to date with our guys and check in with them and stay truly connected, it's also been something that, goes against why they might want to be here. And so we're trying to manage that as effectively and safely as we can, but it certainly presented a challenge, and especially if you go all the way back to March when this thing started.
Now you're going to be able to get on the practice field coming towards the middle of this month.
Yeah.
Take us through how the schedule is going to be for your practices as you don't prepare for a fall season, but you're going to get ready for a spring season.
Yeah. Well, I would say that we're still building that because there are two things I know. One is I don't know anything, and two is that whatever I think I know is probably going to change. So we've been building, with some ideas and as a staff talking about how we would like it to go, but it's, going too far ahead has been something we've learned what not to do. And so, we think that we'll be able to start small in pods and get lots of kind of socially distanced FaceTime, and even though it's masked FaceTime with our players, and start to build on some individual skills and hopefully build those toward, the bigger, broader team ideas on how we want to play. But I'd be lying to you if I said I've got every practice planned out, because that just feels like we're going to have to redo it.
And one thing has changed as well, because now that you're not in season in the fall, you've been able to spend a little bit more time recruiting.
Yeah.
How has that recruiting part of the picture changed for you?
It's sped things up in a couple different ways. One is I think the pandemic allowed students who were going to be juniors and seniors this year to really put more time and thought into what they wanted to do after high school. As opposed to just go in the spring and in the summer, and then kind of get to the fall and go, what am I going to do? So we've been in contact with more younger players and prospective student athletes earlier and had more of them on campus. So that has kind of sped up in a really good way. We have a commitment already, which is the earliest we've ever had somebody. And then also it's sped the high school seasons up to some degree, and that if you just look across the river to North Dakota, they're playing every Tuesday, Thursday. And so our goal as a staff has been get out to as many games as we can, both in Moorhead and across the river, because the season could end tomorrow. So how do we see as many players locally as possible? And then, are there ways for us to stream games in Minneapolis and in Sioux Falls and in Montana and other places we've had success with? So we really kind of try to tackle it that way.
Awesome. Before we let you go, we always have an end with a personal note. And this weekend's Kentucky Derby, and I know you're a huge Kentucky Derby fan, which people might not realize, but is there a special Kentucky Derby that stands out in your memory, or just any memory you have of one of the Kentucky Derbies you've been to? How many have you been to?
7 or 8 I've been to, and then if I'm not there, I'm there in spirit and we're watching online or watching it, at home. And I'd be lying to you too if I told you I didn't have it on in my office today. Oaks Day is today, so to me personally, Oaks Day is just as big of a day as Derby Day. And so the one that stands out is the first one, right? Where you just go and you marvel at the mess of people and what kind of a spectacle it is.
Well, what year was that?
2007.
Okay, and for fans, that might not know, you went to college in Kentucky, so you kind of, is that the first time you got your ties into the Kentucky?
It was really kind of post-college when I moved down to start my coaching career, which was in Louisville, and so, you know, kind of just, you step into that city and Derby is in its blood, right? And it's a month-long celebration heading into it, so you just kind of get swept up in that, and it's hard to not stay swept up in it when you live far away. So the first one always stays with you, and my wife and I have had some real joy bringing people who've never been to the event, because it's such a memorable thing and something I think everybody should be able to do, should try to do, except for this year you can't. But you know, I'm a big fan and looking forward to spending time with my family tomorrow watching the big race.